Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon everyone. Welcome once again to the Peterborough Property Guys on Salam Radio. Hope you've all had a great bank holiday weekend and the first day of the week has started really well for you. You're with myself, Kazafi Sadiq, the host of the Property Guys, alongside my co-host Adam Cooper. Adam, good afternoon buddy. How are you today and how was your bank holiday weekend?
Fantastic, Kazafi. How about yourself?
Amazing, mate. Yeah, it was really nice and warm.
I was going to say, how'd you fare in this heat?
Well, you have to manage, don't you? I've had plenty of ice cream, I have to say. That's kept me nice and cool.
Is that the trick, is it?
Yeah, that's it.
Just keep your freezer stocked up at all times.
Well, I tend to find the popsicles work a lot better than ice cream. That's the kid in me, what can I say? But yeah, you been up too much?
Oh man, just busy trying to get more stock for more tenants, to be honest, because we just noticed such an influx of tenants coming in at the minute.
Oh wow.
There's a lack of good quality stock.
That's quite interesting because I've spoken to one fella and he's saying that it's been tricky trying to rent out properties, lack of tenants, which
really?
I thought is quite unusual because normally we're in need of properties, and so you would think that you'd have more tenants available. So it's quite strange that you've mentioned that. I mean, it shows you must be doing something a bit different for tenants to want to come to you and find out if you've got the right properties available. It
really is, because I mean, we're a bit like yourself. We advertise in a more modern way as well, so I think we can attract a slightly different kind of tenant, to be honest. So yeah, a bit like yourself, I find the modern marketing strategy works. Amazing.
I mean, bank holiday weekend, Mondays, I tend to have a day off. How about yourself?
Cool. This is the one rare time I actually had a day off, and
goodness,
maybe 2 years I actually took a bank holiday off.
Wow. Amazing, because I know you're a grafter, aren't you? So I thought you'd probably be working, but
no, this one time I treated myself, because I treated myself.
Well,
you
do deserve it, don't you? You are a hard worker. So, guys, we're bringing to you on Salam Radio every Tuesdays at 5 o'clock. Our show, the Peterborough Property Guys. We are live on Salam Radio on 106.2 FM. You can listen to us online by visiting salamradio.co.uk. or watch the show on our streaming services by searching Salam Radio on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram or Twitter. If you guys are watching us on Facebook Live, you can probably see us. A little wave to all our viewers out there. If you prefer mobile, please download the Salam Radio app through the App Store or Google Play. Salam Radio is always on air 24/7, 365, uniting all communities. You can watch the repeat of the show if you miss the live show by searching us on our streaming services. You probably noticed I've got my shades on in the studio if you're watching us on Facebook Live. I'll just show you that it was really warm out there and I was driving I'm showing off a little bit, don't I?
I got to maintain that image, I
better take the shades off because it doesn't look really professional. So guys, today's guest for this week is Sean McQuillan. Sean is currently the head of land and new homes for Next Move Estate Agents. Sean is a highly motivated and targeted individual who has held roles of responsibility in management, as well as being a self-starter, driven to succeed with his own property business. Throughout his 20 years plus career in the property sector, Sean has provided thoughtful leadership on a variety of projects, working for leading national estate agents and chartered surveyors, as well as his own business. This has included dealing in new homes, residential and commercial property and lettings over the East Anglia region. So guys, if you've got any questions for Sean, who'll be joining us later on in the show, then do get involved. Ask us any questions, simply dialing the studio number on 01733 602 133. You can text or WhatsApp on 07745 278 978. Alternatively, Facebook Live, as mentioned previously. Make any comments, any likes, be much appreciated. So our topic to be discussed this week is always relevant to our guest. So as our guest Sean is from a land and new homes kind of background, we're going to be talking about new home buildings in Peterborough 2018 slipping to 19.8% below the post-millennium average. So we're going to be talking about that in a lot more details, but as we do every week with our main guy Adam Cooper, telling our listeners why they should be joining us every Tuesday at 5 o'clock to listen to the Peterborough Property Guys. So Adam, if you don't mind, let's tell our listeners why they should be tuning in every Tuesday to listen to us about the Peterborough property market.
So as I say every week, Zafi, the Peterborough Property Guys is your main hub of information. It's always so hard to keep up with the regulations, let alone just the market trends. So guys, what we're all about here is bringing that information to one confined place. You can listen to it on your drive home, back from work between 5 and 6 every Tuesday. And together, knowledge is power. We can grow and we can work together, and we can stay ahead of the competition, ahead of the game.
Amazing. Thank you, Adam, for that. Absolutely. I mean, I think the knowledge and the topics that we discuss week in, week out, they're not topics that are taken from anywhere. This is our own knowledge of the industry. So, before we go in full details of the topic, here are the headlines for today. The overall property values in the Peterborough area are 3.4% higher than a year ago. New stats have confirmed that Vicarage Park Farm has had the most property sold in the last 36 months. Is Peterborough becoming a densely populated city? That's an interesting question. Do you not reckon, Adam?
It is interesting, it is interesting, because we have had a mass of new people come here. But yeah, it still seems like we've still got a lot more amenities to go. It doesn't seem overcrowded to me. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, because I feel the traffic's definitely a lot different than it used to be.
Absolutely.
I used to
busier.
A lot busier. I used to get across Peterborough anywhere, you name it, anywhere, Warrington from Alton, you name it, we get in 15 minutes no matter what. If I told one of my old bosses it took more than 15 minutes to get across the city, he'd have laughed at me until we get out the door. But now, some days, it takes me half an hour to get to work, and I live in Hempstead. It's just a mere extra people here, but I mean, it doesn't seem too bad yet, so I think we've still got a lot of growth to go, and you'll see the amenities all around us are changing very quickly as well. So I think we've got some more growth to go, and the city can definitely handle it, if I'm honest.
Well, I think we could most definitely leave that topic for another day. I think just that on its own, we probably need another show or two for it. So most definitely we can come back on that. So guys, if you're listening live on Salon Radio, we want to ask you, is the UK government building enough houses? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this, so please do WhatsApp us, as mentioned previously, or get involved on Facebook Live. So back to our main topic on new home building in Peterborough. 2018 slips to 19.8% below the post-millennium average. So, Adam, what does that mean for the Peterborough property market?
Well, it's really interesting, Zafi. I mean, because last year, nationally, the number of new homes created in 2018 was 222,194 homes, which is the highest since 1989.
Amazing. That's really interesting.
It's really impressive up the numbers like that. I mean, such a vast amount of new homes, but I mean, you'd think, seeing all the new home sites around, you'd ask if we're building too many houses, especially off the back of those impressive 2018 figures. But I mean, it's come to light. I mean, just to keep up with the ever-growing population, the lifestyles and people who are living longer, and official reports are stating that the country actually needs another 240,000 homes built every year just to stand still.
Wow, that's to meet the demand of the population. And interestingly enough, the headlines that I mentioned is Peterborough becoming a densely populated city. And that kind of does epitomise it.
It does, it really does.
I mean, what can we do as a country to meet demand for the 20% shortage of property we have in Peterborough?
I mean, it's estimated by the Chartered Institute of Housing that the current national backlog of new homes acquired is in the order of 4.7 million. Because of bottled up household formation by younger adults and living with parents, shared housing, unaffordability.
Wow.
And as a country, we just can't meet them demands, not immediately. It's going to take time to build up these plans and to address all these issues. In 2018, new homes build stats for Peterborough are already 19.8% below the post-millennium average. And the cure is simple. We need more homes. It really is. But yet, who's going to build for them and let alone pay for them? I mean, I know there's going to be some people out there say, but why doesn't the local authority pay for some? But I mean, it's not as easy as that. I mean, I've got the figures actually, which we'll go through in a sec, how much these new homes cost to the local authority. It's a large amount, a lot more than even I would have thought.
We'd be really keen to hear about those statistics at a later point. But from the 222,000 units you mentioned that were built last year, what kind of developers were they built by? I mean, they could really vary in terms of private to council to corporate. Narrow it down for us a little bit.
I mean, in 2018, there were 706 new dwellings were created in Peterborough council area. I mean, out of 706, interestingly, only 109 of them were council and housing association homes.
Okay.
So, to put it into perspective, Xafi, if our local authority had an ambitious annual target of, say around 500 homes on top of their figures, how could they be built and where would it be built and how would it be paid for. But I mean, of course, the normal apprehensions about infrastructure, like we mentioned, issues such as roads, schools, hospital capacity, doctor surgeries. But our local authority has a local plan that has a location of where they envision the new housing being built, and the infrastructure goes with it.
I'd be really interesting to ask Sean at a later stage, because when new developments are built, the council doesn't just look at the amount of properties being built, they also look at amenities that could come along with the amount of development. So it's quite interesting, that particular point. So maybe Sean at a later stage can shine some light on that. So why was it that the number of new homes created in 2018 is the highest since 1989? I mean, come on, how many years is that? Is that what, 30 years?
Yeah,
so
30
last
years.
year we built more houses that particular year 30 years ago. Since 30 years ago. So it's quite astonishing how last year we've reached that amount.
You know what it was, Gazafi? It was the politics, you know.
Okay.
And the Tories lifted a cap on what local authorities could borrow in order to build the council houses back in late 2018. I mean, the council could now borrow more money to build the council houses they need. And I say, let's say we built those 500 homes a year for the next 5 years in Peterborough. That would cost the local authority $375 million to build.
Right, okay.
Which would produce, in total, $17.4 million in rent, though. So, at current interest rates, the interest would be around about 9.5 mil per year, leaving a surplus of about 7.9 million for maintenance and management, meaning the council houses could actually pay for themselves. That comes down to the next bit, is space. Where can it go? So, I mean, ultimately, I think, you know, it shows that this exercise is beneficial for the local council. And we heard lately about local councils now being responsible for raising their own money. I don't know if you've heard much of this, but I know I've got some buyers as well who are actually local councils, not Peterborough Council, but other councils who buy properties just for investment as well, just because they're now responsible for upping their own budget. And that's done by allocating a set amount to investment. So, yeah, I find it interesting why we don't have more houses when you put it in that perspective.
Really interesting. I mean, what would that mean, and how could that affect Peterborough homeowners and Peterborough buy-to-let landlords?
Well, I mean, the chances, because I feel, of our local authority getting the full funding for an extra 500 homes a year is slim, as there's only so much money that can be borrowed.
Correct.
I mean, every UK local authority got funding for an additional 500 homes in the next 5 years. An impressive 867,500 homes will be built in those 5 years. That required the councils to borrow in the region of £130.1 billion. I mean, I don't know if you watch the news. The central government just doesn't have that kind of money for councils to borrow. I mean, it's more in the region of 10 billion to 15 billion.
I'm pretty sure if they did, we wouldn't be in the crisis that we're in at the moment.
No, exactly. But, I mean, you know, how is this going to affect the local market, though? Because I think the 4.7 million long-term housing shortages means that house prices will remain strong in the long term, despite little blips like Brexit. And we say little, but in the grand scheme of things, demand is demand, like we always say here. We've always got so much demand. I mean, demand for the private rental properties is going to continue to grow from what we can see. And this attention on the housing crisis by the government is good news for all Peterborough homeowners and Peterborough buy-to-let landlords as well, as it's going to encourage more fluidity in the market in the longer term, sharing the wealth and benefits of home ownership for all.
Brilliant.
But that does mean in the short term, demand is still going to outstrip supply for homes, and that will mean continued upwards pressure on rents for tenants and stability on house prices.
Asking you a question earlier on was, you mentioned you have a lot of tenants looking to rent properties out and you just haven't got that demand. I mean, what else could be done to increase the kind of lack of properties being built?
It's going to come down to planning restrictions. It's going to come down to land prices, acquisition costs. You know, I mean, I know myself as an investor and as a developer, it is hard sometimes to get that land for the right price. And not only that, you've got all the government fees that go on top. You know, you got the seal tax. You know, I think, is it Section 106? I'm not too familiar with land, to be fair. But you got Section 106 to negotiate as well. And this alone, these are like costs that pretty much get negotiated by the local council and get added on.
Right. Okay.
So even if you find a bit of land which works, you know, say for example 200 grand, you could have another 200 grand in still almost Section 106, which kills the deal. And that comes down to how willing is the local council going to be to negotiate on that. How much they need the extra houses as opposed to how much they want extra cash in their pocket. You know, it comes down to that balance now, doesn't it? It has to be a balance of everything, because that goes towards the local infrastructure, or so it's meant to go towards the local infrastructure, And like we said, in your case, where the big developers build new homes, or the little developers who aren't going to build infrastructure to go with it, the council needs to make sure they provide.
Super. Well, just to summarise that topic, last year we've had the highest houses built since 1989.
The highest or the most?
Sorry, the most.
And they're getting taller and taller.
Yeah.
12 stories now.
Yeah, the most, not the highest. So thanks for that correction. But on the grand scheme of things, over the years, we haven't actually met demand. However, looking at last year's figures, things are looking a lot more promising.
It's definitely heading in the right direction, isn't it?
Great news. So just want to slightly alter and change the topic a little bit, because what I really want to talk about is which properties are selling the best in Peterborough. I mean, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, or 4 bedrooms. So that will be our next topic to discuss about. And what I really want to ask is, how long is it taking for properties to sell from going on the market to finding a buyer in this current climate?
Well, I mean, I did a bit of research because I think this is more your field of selling than mine.
Yes.
But from what I could see, a few months ago, it was taking an average of 32 days from a property coming on the market for it to be sold subject to contract. And that was based on every estate agent in Peterborough, not just the high performers. And today, that's now a massive 79 days.
Wow.
I mean, but does that surprise you, really, of what's happening in the UK economy?
I'm not overly surprised, but I mean, that's more than doubled in terms of how long it's taking for properties to go on the market to find a buyer.
It is. I mean, I often find, because that's a lot of uncertainty in the market. It's not so much the lack of demand there, or that the housing stock suddenly dropped in quality. It's just everyone's uncertain about the future financially.
Sure.
With Brexit looming over us once again, people are holding off to buy and even to sell. Because like we discussed last week, it may not affect people downsizing so much, but it's going to affect people upsizing.
Sure.
Because 10-20% difference in price on a larger home is a lot of money. So people holding on to the bigger stock aren't going to want to sell up as quickly as, say, the next person along in a 2-bed is going to.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, just to break the numbers up. I mean, could you tell us the average number of days to sell a property in terms of property type?
Well, that is an interesting one, to be fair, because if it is, let's have a look. So then, if you've got a detached property in Peterborough, the average number of days it's going to take you to sell is around about 84 days. You've got semi-detached, is about 62, terrace or townhouse about 50. And believe it or not, if you've got an apartment, because you're going to be waiting a long time. It says here, on average, it takes 150 days for this type of property to sell in Peterborough.
Wow. How many months is that? That's
it's about 5 months, isn't it? That's about 5 months.
It's taken you 5 months to sell an apartment.
Yeah.
What do you reckon that is?
In my experience, because I find it's the leasehold. It's the leasehold which comes with the ground rent, the service charges, which are often extortionately high, which they often outweigh the difference between getting a flat for a lot cheaper money as opposed to the running costs of a more expensive house on a higher mortgage.
Right, okay.
I mean, the service charge can be as high as £150 a month. And these are basic properties. These are the blocks with just a lift and often no frills. Yeah. So as a first-time buyer, or even any buyer, when you're posed with the prospect of having a flat or a house, and the flat's going to essentially in the long cost you the same amount of money, and it's a deteriorating possession, really, it's losing its value. You're going to go over a house all day long because the house got no leasehold on, there's no extra charges to pay, and it's all yours.
It's quite interesting, especially for our listeners, because if they are looking about either selling or buying an apartment, and it's taking on average 5 months to sell, would you think it's another mediator that's involved in terms of the housing association that kind of causes the delay for it to sell a bit longer than
definitely a massive factor in it. Exactly. I know a lot of block management companies are slow, especially if you're dealing with some of the local authority ones. I mean, I won't mention names, but I know I've dealt with them in the past. And although they do the job and it gets it through, it's sometimes the actual response from the people you need to deal with just to get the leasehold packs across can take weeks.
Yeah.
We can't do anything about the leasehold pack. I mean, the solicitor can't work, they can't get anything done until they know what's in the pack. So they can't argue it for their buyer at the end of the day.
Interesting. Would you think it's a good idea for vendors to conduct their searches before they find a buyer, just to save themselves a lot of time?
Yeah, I definitely reckon it would be, especially on apartments, especially anything where it's got a leasehold
yeah.
on it, because that's always going to take longer, always, always, always. And the aim of the game, especially when you're selling them, is speed. Now, you want that sale to go through as quickly and as smooth as possible. At the end of the day, you as a seller, your solicitor's there just to get it sold and get it gone as quick as possible. But you got to remember, the buyer's solicitor is there to look through every single nook and cranny of that paperwork and make sure they don't miss anything that might trip you up later on. So if you can save, a search on average takes 14 days. That's 14 days you can save right there if you do them early. Let alone the leasehold packs I just mentioned can take up, I've waited 2 months before for them, which is crazy. Like that delays the sale massively.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is actually selling the quickest in terms of property type?
Property type, we can see here is the terrace or the townhouse.
Oh, okay. So it's the terraced houses that are kind of selling the quickest.
It did indeed, but there's a caveat there. Okay. The number of bedrooms also has a big effect on this as well.
Right.
Believe it or not, the 3 beds are selling much, much faster than anything else. And an average 3 bed takes 66 days to sell, whereas a 2 bed takes 89 days.
Wow.
4 bed 76. So surprisingly, a 4 bed actually goes a bit quicker than a 2 bed.
It's definitely food for thought. What would you think the reason why 3 bedders are selling a lot quicker? Terrace are selling a lot quicker. Would you say it's probably a lot cheaper, a lot affordable?
I think that's what it is. It's the value for money you're getting. Because I know when I looked at buying my first home, we could have had a 2 bed, and I still could have had a 2 bed now. But with a 2 bed, you've got nowhere to move, have you? If you had an addition to the family, that's it. You're at your max all of a sudden, or you might have had your partner, and a child already. So you've got nowhere else to go. So I find 2 beds are, it's more first-time buyer category, more investment category. But again, I see less first-time buyers taking them unless it comes down to price. Now, the terrace part is the fact of it's not being fancy, is it? You don't actually need a semi-detached or detached.
No.
You just need a house or the apartment. So the fact that if the first-time buyers are struggling, they're not going to be as fussy if it's a terrace or townhouse. And you'll often notice you get a lot more bang for your buck on a 3-story townhouse than you will an old, 2-bedder apartment, house or bungalow. Just purely because the square footage is less. You're building up rather than out.
So 5 bedrooms are taking probably the longest in terms of houses to sell. Once again, that really is proof in the pudding when it comes down to affordability. You've got fewer people out there who can afford expensive houses. We all know the more the bedrooms, then the price is going to increase at the same time. So once again, it's quite evident that affordability is kind of the main reason in terms of how 3 bedrooms are selling a lot quicker.
I think it is, because especially in somewhere like Peterborough, where when you're getting into the 5-bed territory where you're on your prestigious homes, bear in mind we can buy 5-bed townhouses here, so you really are making a choice, aren't you? You're a totally different kind of buyer. You're not buying because you necessarily need that amount of space. It's because you want that amount of space, I usually find, because there are cheap alternatives out there. And saying that, if you buy a 1-bed, that takes 110 days to sell on average, compared to 120 of a 5-bed.
Wow.
So again, it's not always the most expensive house here, which takes the longest to sell. It seems to be the suitability factor, like we said, there's 2 beds. So again, maybe that's a little market for investors to hit.
Yeah. So going to my next question, what does it actually mean for Peterborough buy-to-let landlords and homeowners, and does this make it more of a buyer's market or a seller's market?
Oh, I think it depends what you got, really, doesn't it? It really depends what you got, because if you've got a 5-bed or more, you can be sitting for a while unless you choose the right agent for it. So it depends what you're looking for. I'd say if you're an investor, you want to aim for these weird numbers, like the 1-bed's at 110 days to sell.
Yeah.
If it's taking 110 days to sell, it means they've got a chance to get in and get a potential deal. Or if you're a more prestigious client, you're looking for a 5-bed or above. Again, if they're taking a long time to sell, you've got more of a chance to get in there. So ultimately, I don't think Peterborough's changed too much over the years in terms of what sells the best and what's in the most demand from my experience. I think it's all about price and presentation, as per always. As to what's making these shift quickest. And I suppose you just have to buy whatever you need at the time, don't you? You can't buy a certain type of property just because it seems a better deal than the other. At the end of the day, if it's a family home, you need to buy for your family functions.
Exactly, mate. Yeah, absolutely. I guess when it comes down to an investment, it's probably more ideal to look at the yield
Oh, exactly. I mean, you can pick the ugly ducklings that need a fortune spent on them as an investment, because you're not going to live there.
Precisely.
You know?
Well, we've got our break coming up in about 45 seconds. So in the second half of the show, we're going to be inviting our special guest, Sean McQuilling, who's the head of London New Homes and comes from a London New Homes background. Just want to reach out to those people who've actually watching us on Facebook Live today. Thank you very much. We've had a message from Ray Spooner saying, "Hi guys, great content as always." So thank you very much, Ray, for your comment, and all the other guys who are actually tuning in to view us right this very moment. So we're going to go for a short break now. So don't go away. Do come back. We've got a special guest who's going to be talking about the London New Homes department. So see you after the break.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
Where can you get high quality and low prices? Amar Food Store and Halal Meat in Lincoln Road, Triangle is the place to go. Pay us a visit and take advantage of our special offers and great range of products on groceries, vegetables, fruits and halal meat. Also send money to Pakistan absolutely free. We have all top brands at special offers, offer free customer parking and provide a free local delivery service. Amar Food Store and Halal Meat, 613B Lincoln Road, Peterborough. Call us on 01733 687 374. High in quality, low in prices.
Peterborough just got a whole lot tastier. Five Lads Flame Grilled Peri Peri Chicken is now open. Bring your family and friends to Peterborough's first HMC meat selling restaurant. We are experts in grilled chicken, lamb chops and gourmet lamb and beef burgers. Our healthy options include fresh salads and fresh grilled vegetables. Fresh, clean and healthy grilled food with 4 different flavours. Lemon and herb, medium, hot and extra hot. 5-star hygiene rating. Eat in, order and collect or order for delivery on Deliveroo. Follow 5 Lads Peterborough on Facebook and Instagram 5 Lads. 15 Cowgate, Peterborough, PE1 1LZ. Call 01733 56 22 87. Open 7 days a week, 12 to 11 p.m.
Insure 24/7 is a community-based insurance brokerage offering competitive premiums and a great service. Taxis, properties and businesses, we cover them all. Call us on 01733 856699 or visit our new office at 304 Lincoln Road. Insure 24/7. We've got you covered. Insure 24/7 is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
There's a million choices available for dining out in Leeds.
But if you want something special, there's only one name to remember.
Mumtaz Leeds.
Relax in our newly refurbished Riverside restaurant.
Enjoy exquisite home cooking from our brand new menu. Upgrade to the Mumtaz Leeds experience.
And the price? Well, we're better value than ever before.
Mumtaz Leeds, Chadwick Street, Leeds, LS10 1PJ. Call 0113 242 4211.
Free car parking available.
عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى قال من عاد لي وليا فقد آذنته بالحرب وما تقرب إلي عبدي بشيء أحب إلي مما افترضته عليه ولا يزال عبدي يتقرب إلي بالنوافل حتى أحبه فإذا أحببته كنت سمعه الذي يسمع به وبصره الذي يبصر به ويده التي يبطش بها ورجله التي يمشي بها ولئن سألني لأعطينه ولئن استعاذني لأعيذنه.
Broadcasting 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This is Salam Radio.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to Salam Radio 106.2 F. You are listening to the Peterborough Property Guys with myself, Kazafi Sadiq, and my co-host Adam Cooper. And we've got in the studio our special guest, Sean McQuillan. Sean, good afternoon, how are you?
Good afternoon to you, Kazafi. Yeah, I'm doing fine, thank you.
Excellent, brilliant. Sean, we've already given you a brief introduction. We understand that you are head of London New Homes. You come from a London New Homes background. But other than knowing that, please share with us a bit about yourself and how you got involved in property.
Okay, I mean, it sort of started me, quite early actually. Probably in my early childhood, when my parents started doing an extension on their home.
Wow, okay.
An active interest in property at sort of the age of 8, 9.
Oh wow, interesting.
So I knew initially at that age that's what I really wanted to do. And when I got to the age of sort of 16, where I was permitted to work, I did a summer holiday job for Humbert's Chartered Surveyors.
Oh, okay.
Thoroughly enjoyed it, getting involved on viewings, a little bit with valuations, research. It was the era when computers weren't really around, so you really need to know your stuff.
I could imagine.
Know the local market. Obviously, it wasn't as built up as it's got in the last number of years, but it taught you to really use your initiative, and also that the importance of doing your research when you're talking to clients, and it's something that I hold to this day that I think is very important.
Okay, interesting. So, when did you first get involved in new homes?
Yeah, I mean, initially I got in new homes after I came out of university in Sheffield. And I got involved at the age of sort of 21, 22, when I started working for a corporate estate agent. And I had a very good mentor, a very regional director who took me on board. You could see my enthusiasm, and introduced me to a number of the key blue chip developers in the UK. And that's really how I got started on the land and new home sort of side of things.
Brilliant. Awesome. So you're currently you're working towards becoming a RICS surveyor. You're currently a H&D land, and you currently qualified as a H&D land and valuation.
Correct.
So what does that mean, and what did you do to get there?
Yeah, I mean, what it comprised of was a 3-year course based at Sheffield. So it encompassed a number of different aspects on the course, through from planning regulations to planning law to building construction to valuation of a variety of different methods of both commercial and residential property. And then also with land surveying. So it was the old traditional methods of using a chain was how you would measure the size of plots of land.
We're going way back now, aren't we?
Oh, it is. Yeah, you learn all the old techniques, and then obviously it would progress with theodolites and all the rest of it, the more modern technology. So it was a classroom grounding, but with some practical aspects to it as well. And the only thing it didn't have at that time was, what would have been useful would have been a placement. But as I say, I'd already done bits and pieces of myself, used my own initiative to get that. But that certainly enabled me to feel confident when I was talking to developers that I knew what I was doing.
Sure.
So it's quite a broad spectrum qualification.
Super duper. So, being H&D land and valuation qualified, what does that give you authority to do?
I think when it in the sort of current marketplace, a number of people have come into our profession who are not qualified. They come from a sales background, and they are fantastic at sales. But when it gets into the minutiae of the detail, when a client is asking you particular questions of, can I put an extension on my property? I've got a large garden. Can I, get planning permission? What do I need to do? Those questions are coming up more and more now with people, and they are stuck. As a general rule of thumb, they don't know where to start. They'll Google it these days,
absolutely,
or whatever.
I agree with
you. They can't Google it in front of the client, can they? Whilst you're talking face to face with them. So basically, the qualification, the experience that I've got will hopefully come across to that client, on a face-to-face basis. They feel confident with you. Certainly within our profession, qualifications count a little bit, but also they're buying from the individual. They've got to feel confident in in your ability
Your
and who you
ability,
are,
absolutely.
and you can deliver, and that's the sort of thing.
Amazing,
really.
super, brilliant. I mean, you're currently working for a London New Homes company. I mean, coming from a London New Homes background, what would you say the reasons are for new homes in Peterborough 2018 slipping to 19.8% below the post-millennium average? Because that was our topic for today.
Yeah, it's. I think it's historically been an issue that's been creeping up, and it's well known within our profession that enough housing, enough land hasn't been made available. Central government has tried its best. They've released a number of papers and documents and planning guidance to free up land.
Okay.
But there seems to be, a typical case of red tape, unfortunately, where you have central government setting a policy, you have a council also setting a policy, but it's slightly different to what the central government is doing. The two people aren't really talking together. They've maybe got 75% of it right, but 75% doesn't actually transform and actually build a house.
No.
And then that information is disseminated to either social housing or to private developers, and they are perplexed with the delays that they're experiencing, and it's no fault. I want to make this perfectly clear. It's no fault of the staff at those planning councils, planning departments. They are absolutely fantastic people. Some of my best friends, work in that department.
Okay.
And they are diligent, forthright with you, but their hands are tied by the senior management within the department. They're under-resourced, basically, and there's been a chronic shortage of certainly if we talk about particularly for Peterborough, of the social housing side.
Right.
And I was looking at some data earlier on, and the local plans that were just revised in the last sort of 6 months, which is going to bring us up to 2022. We are going to be 8,000 on the current building, 8,000 homes short.
Right. Okay.
Staggering number.
Wow.
And if you think that in the previous years from 2002 up to 2017, they only did 8,000. So I think
quite interesting that.
I think that explains a lot.
That does explain
the previous years they haven't accelerated that program, and we're now into a panic sort of situation. We're also, they're going to be, getting to a situation where there is and there has been a skills shortage.
Okay.
In terms of, builders, plasterers, and whatever. That is, a lot of it for Peterborough has come in from the Eastern Europe. Those guys have earned some decent money. They have now, some of them have gone home and starting up their own businesses back home. They've been here for economic reasons.
Sure.
And obviously with Brexit and the uncertainty, what that's going to happen. Are we going to get a bit of influx of skilled, individuals that can help out? I'm not sure about that. There's various training schemes that the government has and local colleges do to encourage people to get into building trade, and I would encourage people to do that. It's a good vocation, a profitable vocation, but the numbers still aren't coming through to what we need to meet that 8,000 homes just on the social housing side of things.
Do you think there's an over reliance for new builds in the private sector?
There has been, yeah, and to a degree is because of the way that the financial markets happened with the crash, so 2007, 2008. There has been a tightening of government money going directly to housing. There has been different other funds which I can talk about in a moment, but in terms of direct money that's coming in that the council could rely on, that has all changed. They're having to raise money from their own sources, and that's difficult. You've got to be very shrewd and clever about how you budget and how you strategize to raise that sort of cash. So there has been a massive sort of reliance on the private sector, and they've gone into sort of shared ownership things, sort of a 50-50 split, and that has helped.
Okay.
But again, it's not in the volumes that we really need.
No. We were speaking during the break, in fact, about how the local authority has been quite active in the market. I mean, do you not think they should step in?
I think they should. Step in and step up. Basically. There's some very dynamic people there at the council, and I'm sure that they want to. It's a question of what priority are they going to put on it. There's a huge draw on obviously all their resources, but there needs to be a really cohesive plan and cohesion of a plan with the city council, with the social housing sort of side of things, with the private developers, and with central government. Those guys have to get it together rather than just talk about it. Is get on with it and do it.
Absolutely,
and that's not been the case really to date.
I mean, it's interesting you say that, Sean. So, I mean, because I see a lot of modular homes getting more and more popular. I mean, you're saying about the lack of skills that we're going to have, and I can massively see that because we offer so many tech roles nowadays, and we push that more to the younger generation. There's not many kids who are leaving school at ICE anyway who are like, I want to be a builder, I want to build homes. So there's going to be a skill shortage because society's pushing that way. So that calls for smarter ways of developing the modern world, surely. And modular construction, I mean, because I don't know much about modular construction, is where they basically, it's like a big prefab home they build in a factory and bring it to the site, and a lot of them they construct within 24 to 48 hours.
That's right.
It's a full-blown ready-made home.
Wow.
And it means they can develop all year round because they're in shelter, so there's none of these light conditions, no adverse weather conditions. So what's your thoughts on that, Sean?
I think that's the way that it will go. I'm not go on about sort of climate change and the weather sort of side of things, but traditionally there was a reluctance in the building trade, certainly going back to the sort of 1970s, 60s, 70s, to go into sort of timber frame because they were worried about rot, and certainly lenders were concerned. Now, with the way that modern techniques have developed, with how you can impregnate the wood to preservatives, they are much more able to withstand the weather conditions of the UK, even with downpours, etc. I think you're right. Adam. I think that SIPS is going to be a way of doing major sort of property builds. We see it again on a number of the bigger sites. They are bringing in that the SIPS package, which is for your listeners is what Adam is saying, is making those timber frame walls, etc. off-site, which include obviously your foam insulation. They'll wire it for you, everything. So it's literally a bolt-on job, basically to a concrete foundation that you will have already prepared on your property. And I think that will be a ever-increasing method that people will use. And lenders have got on board. They're approving it. It has all got kite marks. It's all certified British standards, etc. So you're not getting something that somebody's knocked up in their garage. These are proper firms employing hundreds and hundreds of people. And I think that will be a very good way to sort of help the skills shortage.
I'm not sure if you've recently seen, but where Morrison's is on Borges Boulevard, on Lincoln Road, overnight there was a McDonald's there. I'm not sure if you see it.
I was going to say, I drove past there. I had a couple month gap, and all of a sudden, bam, it was there.
So that really kind of falls nicely onto what you guys.
That's a 2-story McDonald's as well, isn't it? It just appeared out of nowhere.
It appeared out of nowhere. So that really is a clever way, more kind of future-proof, isn't it? In terms of,
it shows quality workmanship. Again, I sure know all too well. As the pressures get put on the local government, on the government to produce more new homes, so that pressure gets directly passed on to site managers and site controllers, site workers. And of course, it comes speed. Speed doesn't always mean good quality.
No, it doesn't. No.
And corners get cut and corners get missed quite often. I've seen some horrendous jobs. Whereas there's got to be QC'd out of the factory. And they've got no excuse because they're the same workers time and time again. There's no subcontractors on site which they don't know of. Because that's normally the next thing. It's a subcontractor did that. And you normally find these big developers, they sub out everything. I live on a new build site and I know it's always, it was their fault, but never the developer's fault. But it is really, because it's like us as a company. It's always the company's fault, whoever they subbed out to.
It's taking that responsibility and making sure you're doing your due diligence. So,
and this is where I think I can see personally it coming more and more into effect. As the demand outweighs the supply. we're going to need a new way of building homes quicker and keeping the standard up.
Super. Sean, you're currently working for an estate agent. Your role is the Land and New Homes department, where you're growing that department as well as working for the company. The current climate for estate agents, I mean, what would you say the biggest challenges are for estate agents in 2019?
And are we talking about just for Peterborough, or are we talking nationally?
Peterborough.
I suspect that the biggest challenge is actually a mental one. People always wanting to move.
Wow.
That always happens. People move for jobs, for domestic reasons.
Okay.
So there's a perception, and I say perception, that Brexit has put a bit of a damp on the market, and it's people's uncertainty about moving, the costs of moving, of removals, of fees, of solicitors' fees, and things like that, that are persuading people just to pause and think. They still want to move. The job that they are offered or going to, do they want to take that move right now? Not sure. So I think in the next 3 to 4 months, I think that will hopefully, if Boris Johnson pulls his finger out and gets on with it, that fella, wow. Then I think things will stabilise, and we'll see the market sort of bounce back. The market in the last quarter did dip, according to government figures. But I think there will be hopefully a positive bounce, and we'll see a much more productive tail end to the year. And certainly, I think there's going to be a very bright 2020. Sorry, 2012.
Going back now. Yeah. What was it like 2012? I can't remember.
The prices, if I remember correctly, were just on the creep back up.
Yeah.
It dipped down a little bit
for a few years,
and they just started climbing back up. So I remember valuing houses back then going, what? Realising how much they're worth all of a sudden. It's crazy. So I mean, Sean, I've got one for you, and I bet a lot of people out there would be interested in.
Sure.
As an investor, then, what's the best way to get into land, and how's the best way to make relations with Land and New Homes agents?
I mean, land is finite. That's one thing that we do know.
Yeah.
It's not something that
you can't make any more land, can you?
You can't. Well, you can. I mean, in theory, yes, you can. You can make more land on the coast, and you can bring things in, but it is extremely hard in all complexities. How can you make money on land? Was that the point?
Well, what's the best way for investors like myself and like my clients as well? Who normally deal with houses, like it is as a buyer or as an estate agent. Sure. You have your clients you deal with regularly.
Yeah.
Obviously, Land and New Homes is a totally different ball game, and I know myself as an investor, when I'm looking now, I'm considering more and more land deals.
Yeah.
To try and make the figures work, and I'm sure a lot of the public out there will be doing the same.
The core thing, if you're members of the public, is to get in touch with me on the Land and New Homes at Nextmove, and I will register you. I do have things coming up, various deals that come up, even for the small investor up until to the larger guys. It's not easy. There are a number of us operate nationally and sort of regionally, and we're all fighting over this finite piece of land. Ours comes from a variety of different sources, basically from individuals of high net worth, farmers, and also from other developers that are looking to try and raise cash from their existing sites that want to move away. There's a tail end piece of land that they haven't developed. And other developers are looking to move things on because it's going to be more productive for them in other areas. So, it's for the single investor that's looking to add properties to their portfolio. I would consider getting in touch with us, but I'd also consider widening your scope and thinking. Don't just think of land side of things. Think of properties that have large gardens. Traditionally, large gardens will be properties that have bungalows. And look at trying to obtain planning permission on the rear garden and things like that. But also consider brownfield sites, which is those sites which had commercial developments on them, and the councils are very, very keen to reuse those for housing or for other commercial uses. So the information to a degree for the private investor is out there. You can look at there's a number of popular websites. Can I name them, Gaddafi, or is that okay to name them? Yeah.
As long as it's Gaddafi's website.
Yeah. I think we know who they are. But it's the main property portals. You will find them on there, and be vigilant. Speak to as many people as you can. Take advice at the end of the day, because a property purchase and investment in land, new homes, any type of property, commercial property, it will be a significant part of your net worth, of your income. So you wouldn't go to a dentist without knowing he's qualified. So it's the same practice, and I think you should utilise the skills and expertise of those professionals to help you out.
Yeah, I mean, there's many, in fact, various ways of actually maximising in the Land and New Homes Department, new builds in particular. I mean, I know in 2016 the government, come up with the was it permitted development?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell our listeners a bit about permitted development and how you can maximise and take advantage of that.
Sure. I mean, the permitted development side of things was really to try and speed up the process of adding extensions really to people's property. So if you were looking to add a larger lounge onto the back of your home,
right?
Permitted development allows you a percentage. I believe it's something like 30% from memory, to add that square footage to your property without having to go through planning regulations.
Okay.
But what you must comply with, and what people don't do, is you have to comply with building regulations. So you have to build in accordance with a code. You can't alter the door size just to suit yourself because you're small, or build a bigger one because you're big. You have to build in accordance with building regulations. And what they will do is they will come out and inspect it and sign it off. And that certificate is vitally important, because when you come to sell a property and it goes through searches with a solicitor, if you do not have the right paperwork, you are in a big big problems. You can apply for retrospective planning, but that all takes time, and again, if you're in a chain situation, that could sort of mess up a sale for you. So it's important to get the paperwork right in the first place and get things signed off.
Fantastic, super. Well, we've got plenty of engagement, and we've got a question from someone on Facebook Live, from Shazad Ali. He's asked, council built homes are at a low, but why does it feel the council is making planning and development for the smaller private sector people more difficult than the big fish guys? What a genuine question.
Really
I think.
Valid question. Like I said about how does the investor step up to land? It's that age-old thing, isn't it? It's a struggle. It's like getting through a threshold. So Sean, that is really interesting.
Sorry, I missed the part of that. Give me the tail end again for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So this question is from Shazad Ali.
Yeah.
Council-built homes are at a low, but why does it feel the council is making planning and development for the smaller private sector people more difficult than the big fish guys?
Yeah. They're, if you think of what I was talking about earlier, the council are looking to try and achieve targets, and we're all in all of our day jobs, regardless of what industry, and we're all targeted to do something. So there has been a reliance really to go to the big boys to meet their numbers, because they can do on economies of scale. They can scale up and hopefully achieve those sort of 8,000 homes that I was talking about in 2 years, which is pie in the sky they're going to reach anyway. But there is more of a chance to reach that. The single man band, the small builders, who are trying to sort of add to that. They, as I was talking about again earlier, the staff shortages. It's not getting pushed through fast enough. And I feel for you guys that are out there trying to do that. It's extremely difficult, but persevere. I think things will start to change. People have been promised it, but I think that is coming. It's a big wave that's coming online. Amazing,
Sean. Thank you ever so much, and thank you, Shazad, for that question, and thank you everyone for actually watching us on Facebook Live. Nadeem, Ayaz, Zaf, Faisal, Shazad, Sani, Umar, all you guys, Rose Spooner, thank you very much for watching us, guys, on Facebook Live. We're going to be wrapping it up any minute now, but before we do, Sean, born and bred in Peterborough?
I was born and bred in Peterborough, yes.
Oh, amazing, fantastic. Sean, literally in 30 seconds, tell us what you love about Peterborough.
Well, it's got to be Peterborough United Football Club, isn't it? I'm looking for a free season ticket here. But yeah, no, I think Peterborough's a very commutable city. You can get access to most parts of the UK. It's good infrastructure links. The shopping is okay. I think it could be improved, but
that's in the pipeline. Been in the pipeline for many years.
Yeah.
We could talk about that in another stage.
We could do.
Oh, literally, you've got 10 seconds.
Well, I appreciate you guys, your time, and I hope you'll invite me back again. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself, and hopefully your listeners will ask me some more questions.
Perfect, super. Sean, thank you ever so much for coming on the show today. Guys, you can rewatch this show on Facebook and YouTube, or alternatively, you can visit my blog page, which is peterboroughpropertyblog.com, or search Kazafi Sadiq on Facebook or LinkedIn, where you can read plenty of my other articles about the Peterborough property market. So guys, from myself and Adam, thank you for joining us today on Salam Radio. Until next week, same time, same place. Thank you, Sean. Have a nice week, guys. We are your Peterborough property guys.
You're listening to Salam Radio and its